All right, so let's talk about the biosynthesis of the catecholamines, dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. We'll start with phenylalanine. And phenylalanine hydroxylase, an enzyme, will hydroxylate the phenylalanine, making tyrosine. So tyrosine is quite simply a phenylalanine with one hydroxide group on it. Tyrosine hydroxylase will be the enzyme that puts the second hydroxide group on the phenylalanine. DOPA, quite simply, stands for dihydroxyphenylalanine. So we started with phenylalanine and put two hydroxide groups on it. Now we have L-DOPA, dihydroxyphenylalanine. Now that we have L-DOPA, an enzyme called DOPA decarboxylase will remove the carboxylic acid group, giving us the neurotransmitter dopamine. Dopamine beta hydroxylase will put a hydroxide group on the beta carbon, and we have norepinephrine. When we have norepinephrine, an enzyme called phenylethanolamine N-methyltransferase will put a methyl group on our phenylethanolamine, and this gives us epinephrine. So the conversion of tyrosine to L-DOPA is done by tyrosine hydroxylase. The conversion of DOPA to dopamine is done by an enzyme called DOPA decarboxylase. The conversion of dopamine to norepinephrine is done by an enzyme called dopamine beta hydroxylase. And norepinephrine is converted to epinephrine by an enzyme called phenylethanolamine N-methyltransferase. The breakdown of dopamine and norepinephrine, and there's all sorts of intermediate steps that are involved, and that's not what's important. The important thing to know in pharmacology is that dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine, the catecholamines, are broken down into two substances, homovanillic acid and vanillomandelic acid. So HVA and VMA are the breakdown products of dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. If we have a tumor that secretes too much epinephrine, something called a pheochromocytoma, we'll put too much epinephrine in the body. The way we look for that is look for the breakdown products of epinephrine. So if they have high HVA and high VMA levels, then we assume that there's something in the body making too much catecholamine. The most important enzyme that breaks down the catecholamines is monoamine oxidase. Monoamine oxidase also breaks down serotonin. So it's important to know that monoamine oxidase is the enzyme that breaks down the catecholamines, and HVA and VMA is the end product of the catecholamine breakdown. Catechol-O-methyltransferase, COMT, is also an important enzyme in the breakdown of dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. The point I wanted to make is that dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine are broken down by monoamine oxidase and catechol-O-methyltransferase, and the end products are HVA and VMA.